good. So it's great to catch up with you again. Why don't you give me a quick intro of who you are, what you've done, where you are.
Yeah, thanks, Perry. Great to chat. I'm Greg Williamson, director of a HubSpot agency in Christchurch in New Zealand, so down at the bottom of the world. We are a tech focused agency, so we only work with technology-based companies exporting out of New Zealand. So it's New Zealand's third biggest export industry. So we work with a bunch of software companies, electronics, biotech, specialized manufacturers, those kind of people. Doing everything from helping with marketing strategy through to running their inbound marketing campaigns and increasingly a lot of sales enablement type work as well.
Yeah, well, so we have a lot in common. That's the reason we reached out to have a conversation. Was we're both focused on that tech industry. What do you see as when you work with these software technology companies? What do you find is their biggest issues, challenges that they have? I'm wondering if they map to similarities to the ones we're seeing here in Israel and in the U.S.
Yeah, it may be different just because our tech industry is probably less mature than the Israeli or the US one. But in a sales and marketing sense, the number one issue, and we sort of track this every year, we do quite a big study on it, is productivity of sales. They just really struggle to be efficient enough around, attracting, nurturing, and converting their sales prospects. So they don't tend to have enough of a systemized approach. A lot of sales is driven by, sales heroes, really talented salespeople who will, they'll get armed up and they'll head off to the States and they'll sell, almost on a bespoke type of approach. They'll sell their software or electronics type product or whatever, rather than having a really repeatable process where they're, they've almost got a really machine-like approach to generating and converting that demand. And we'll benchmark that against US companies. And it's interesting, Kiwi tech salesmen are paid more, but they're not as productive in terms of, what they generate in terms of sales. So it's that's a really interesting thing. So a lot of our work's focused on how can we make your sales team more efficient.
That's a broader issue, and we definitely see some of that. Just curious, what is out of Israel? There's a lot of from the B2B tech space. There's a lot of cyber, a lot of data companies. What does it look like in New Zealand? What's the focus there? Is there a specific type of companies that you see a lot of?
The traditional tech company has been more in electronics. A whole lot of medical devices, communications type technology. That's the traditional one. But probably in the last 5 years or so, there's been an explosion of software as a service. So there's quite a lot of, businesses. Xero's one, which is, quite a big exporter now. They've got a big position. They're probably the biggest in New Zealand and Australia. They're an accounting software provider. And they've got a big base in the UK and really growing in the States. So, there's quite a growth of those kind of companies. And they tend to be a lot of the ones we're working with now. But in terms of focus, New Zealand tech companies typically do well in niches because we struggle to compete against, a big multinational head on. So a lot of our customers will tend to be, in a really niche horizontal thing around HR, some really specific problem that they've got, software as a service for, or some other, quite specific medical application or whatever, rather than taking on the big giants and the big mainstream type areas.
So it sounds like we have a lot of things in common. We have more to talk about, and I know that you're going to meet some of my team at Inbound, and we're gonna keep talking.
The first email went out yesterday already. What we're going to do, there's around 1,100 people right now. At the end of that 3-part nurture, whoever didn't open any, we're deleting them from the database.
Okay. Something we should think about is also is based on what the content of the email is, who should be the sender. I noticed that yesterday that it came from me.
Right.
And just to think about it. So Pandadoc, so the way it integrates, first of all, it integrates with HubSpot. So if I'm in Opportunity or a deal, it shows up here. And what it does is it pulls, you create templates, and that's the part I want to show you. You create templates in Pandadoc, and when you pull a template into HubSpot, I'll pull our standard SOW. I can CC like Mark, or if I know that you're going to be the coordinator or the consultant on the I can, so that you'll have visibility into the SOW that's potentially going to be signed. Okay. Or if there's other people in their company who want to see the SOW, I can do that. Right. Here it is. It's got generated. You can change the name, and you can see that these are all tokens. Rather based, company name. You can do pretty much any field in HubSpot. You can token into here. You can get really crazy and creative. As you're building a brand book and want to create things more solid. Right. This is the starting point. This is the first thing that a customer almost gets when we're starting to work with them. When they sign this. So the more impressive this is, the better. Yeah. So this is kind of how it looks. From here on, it's pretty much standard. Talk about it. This is our boilerplate, and then and this is our credit system, and then the terms, and this is kind of like the package that they're buying. And you can add anything, you can video, and so I just a while back I just shoved our case, one of our case studies at the bottom here, so that sometimes they send it to the CEO to sign, and so you can see at least there's something more some impressive stuff here. So that's kind of how it works. This guy is a fractional CMO. Okay. But he's like, that's his thing. And he reached out to me 2-3 months ago. Interesting enough, he reached out to me, and the CEO that he's working with both reached out to me in a week or two. He wants to review 2 examples of marketing plans, and 2 monthly reports. He wants to see how we work. He has a good understanding of how it is to work with an agency, because he's been working with one for the last year and a half. And he has very specific questions that he wants to. Interestingly enough, the reason he's not happy with his current agency is he feels 2 things. First, he feels like his main point of contact is not a good project manager. Okay. And he's not. They're not innovative enough from a marketing perspective. They're not trying enough new things. Ideas, yeah. He's not seeing the basics are being covered, but not. They're not. They're not seeing So in our next meeting, we're going to show them this, but we also are going to make enough time to come with some ideas for him specifically. Say, hey, here's 2-3 things that we would do in our first month to get some low-hanging fruit or something like that. So
that's pretty cool.
So that's kind of
that's excellent.
So I mean, there's like I said, there's typical. There's there's sort of typical, like I just showed you. Like a lot of times, what we're finding in the U.S. is that a lot of the leads are coming in very mature, meaning they're ripe. Right. But it's also more there's more competition. So they're coming in and they're testing 3 to 5 agencies. So we're continuously trying to figure out how we hack that and win some of those, because
how do we differentiate ourselves in the market?
Yeah. This actually came out of a conversation I had, which I think was very enlightening with IT Central Station. But what he said was very nice. Is interesting. It's because when you write a case study and someone reads it, it's interesting and it's enlightening, but people know in the back of their head that you wrote it, and you're promoting yourself. You're not going to write a case study that's bad, because you're going to look bad. What they're doing is they're writing these from the user's perspective. So figuring out how to get more bites from our customers, videos, quotes, or things like that we could do together with them might be some interesting things. You want to understand how it will be to work with you, the day after. It's like whenever you buy something, it's no different, right? Than when you bought your phone. You're imagining having the phone as you're going through the process, and you're like, I can imagine what's on. And then as soon as you have that you can't wait to make that buy. Just take my money. I mean, that's how sales works. It doesn't matter if you're buying a phone or some crazy piece of software. The psychology is the same. Right. Just it's a longer process when you're dealing with B2B, or when we're selling these things. So, and you can see it when I'm selling to a customer, and they're skeptical, they're not sure. But as soon as they're sure, they just want to start yesterday. They'll sign immediately, and then they'll call you, and they want to start. We literally signed that deal we signed at the Hub. One of the reasons he closed with us is because he was getting with the other, he closed almost with another agency, but they were like, yeah, we'll start in 3 weeks, and that was like
they're very time pressured. I met with them on
right. So the fact that that we were right there, we were solving his problems right on the spot, and then he could sign that day and close the next. He already knew what he wanted. He already felt like he could envision it. He wanted this. He just wanted it. So.
Great end to the week with the meeting at IDE Technologies. Incredible desalination technology, which basically means that they take salt water and turn it into drinking water. They're doing some of the biggest projects around the world, of course some in Israel, and basically helping bring fresh water to the world. And then I'll just say this is a great end to the week, and I hope you enjoyed this week, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.